Everybody who had a major as well as a minor part in that, you know, from clarinets, from clarinets Trombones, King Dunlap. Drums, Mr. Gardner. Saxophone, Paul Payne, Robert Richardson, myself. But one of the key parts in there was the sixth leg of the tune, which was for the tenor sax. I played the third leg. And it mentioned Gregory Coates. And I had seen Gregory since I graduated in 1964. And I saw Gregory tonight for the first time. It looked like he's grown 10 inches. I know. Last time I saw Gregory, he was about like this, you know what I mean? So Gregory Coates, I'd like you to stand up and let them know who you are. Sit back, relax. It's not going to be a real long program, just 3-4 hours. And after that, you sit in church that long, why you laughing for a talk? I'm thinking but right now, we're going to have a tune for us, somebody sing a solo. I haven't heard Norby sing in a long time. She sing all the time. The daughter of King Dunlap III. Norby Dunlap.
Calls me that, and that is King Dunlap the Fourth. That's my brother. That's my oldest brother, living brother. Besides, who else? Michael. Michael Reggie. And I have a sister called Command Sergeant Major. That's my sister, and I love her from my heart. The song I'm going to sing is Miss Homer Holly, my mama, Miss Holly, Barbara Holly. Mom, she loves that Lord keep me every day. And every time I come home, she would have this great Mr. Mitchell said, you got to sing that song now. So that's what it was. Lord, keep me every day. And that is my favorite song. Thank you. God bless you.
Let's give another round of applause. I do want you to know that I'm not nearsighted. I did see the Negro National Anthem. But I'll be honest with you. We sing it so poorly. I didn't see Roland Atkinson in the audience. I know every time we sing it before, we start off with before I start singing. You know, and I didn't want to embarrass anybody here tonight. You know, I didn't. I seen him on it. He couldn't sing it at all. So I don't want to get embarrassed. So we skipped it tonight, okay? So don't go back and tell folks, Bobby, see now, I saw it. I just skipped. All right, Pastor. I saw it. I just skipped it. Thank you. Our next speaker for the evening, class of 1964, is Alethea Yvonne Lewis McLean.
Amen. Good evening, Centralites.
Good evening.
Guests, family, and friends. It is truly an honor, as well as a pleasure, to introduce to you two of the most caring, delightful, kind, loving, understanding ladies anyone would want to know. We appreciate you for being the first in the integration of our school system in Paris and Henry County. Mrs. Barbara Jean McLean Byers was born in Meridian, Mississippi, to the late Mr. Dawkins and Annie McLean. Raised in Paris, Tennessee, educated at Henry County Training School, Central High School until they left us in '62, and graduating from E.W. Grove High School in 1964. After graduation, she continued her education at Murray State College, now Murray State University. She was blessed with 3 children: Felicia Byers Kendall, Kristen Byers Robinson, and Brian Byers. A devoted grandmother of 9, a member of Spark Street Church of Christ. Mrs. Barbara Ann Tharp Gray was born to the late Mr. William and Nell Tharp. Raised in Paris, Tennessee, educated at Henry County Training School, Central High School until she left us in '62, and graduating from E.W. Grove in 1964. After graduation, she continued her education at Lane College in Jackson, Tennessee. Believe it or not, we were even roommates. Graduating in 1968 at Atlanta University in 1970. She is married to Johnny Gray and was blessed with 2 children, Michael Gray and the late William Gray. Devoted grandmother of 2, a member of Progressive Baptist Church, where she serves as Sunday school teacher of the young adult class. But that's not all. We 3, Rising Street Trio, grew up together, lived on the same street, on the same side, rode to school in my dad's green 1946 Oldsmobile. Took piano lessons from Mrs. O.M. Crawford, played basketball under Mr. J.L. O'Daniel, and you all know, sang in the glee club, Mrs. O.M. Crawford, performed in the first ever band at Central High School under John Parrish, members of the Honorary Society. After getting my driver's license, I would go pick up my brothers. We'd go riding in my dad's 1958 white Chevy on Sunday. But on this particular Sunday, we had to have a chaperone. Can you believe it? We're 16 years old. Why we need a chaperone? But this chaperone was 7 years old. Fried, garlic, chicken eating little boy in the back seat of the car, who turned out to be our mayor, Mr. Samuel Dawson. Samuel Derrick Dawson. After all is said and done through all these years, our friendship, our love for one another has grown even closer and stronger over these 60 plus years. Hey, you don't know, we didn't, you know. We didn't know, but I'll tell you what, we can still swing now. But that is truly, truly a blessing. That we can, even though Mrs. Byers is my sister-in-law, no, we still love each other, regardless. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mrs. Barbara Jean McLean Byers and Mrs. Barbara Ann Garth Gray. Let's give them a round of applause.
My name is Barbara Ann, and better known as Barbara Ann. And all I can say is thank you for wanting us to participate in what we call our school as well. Because, you know, I'm Barbara Jean, and I echo her statements. We consider Central as our school, although we were not here. But we had classmates, friends, and families, you know, in the school. And we participated in activities, attended once we were away. Then one day in August, we went to the superintendent's office, Julian Brewer at the time, and it started a new chain of events for us. And as we read back and as we tell our story to you, we went into Julian Brewer's office, and we had present with us Mr. Clarence Clark, Reverend Alcorn, who was a minister at Quinn Chapel, AME Church at that time, my mother Nell Tharp, Jean's mother, Miss Annie Kay,
Clarence Clark, who was more or less, and not less, but the leader in all of this. But they had us all sitting up in, at this point when I look back on it, it was the smallest office I'd ever seen. I don't know if it was because it was so many people, but Mr. Brewer had the reddest face you would ever want to see. And we were sitting there a little shaken ourselves because school had started and we weren't in school.
But the following Monday, Tuesday, back in with school on the day after Labor Day, we were escorted the same group to the office, Dwight Norman, at Grove. Then we went into homeroom. I'm M, she's T, but they separated us into alphabetically order. And I was in the library, and the tables were as long as these tables, it seemed, and they separated me from the other kids. I had one long table by myself, and wondering all the time, well, what are they doing with Bob Rand? But then once we got settled, we ended up in the same classes throughout our time there, which was 2 years.
Now, we didn't have a choice about what we were to take in school. As you well know, there are some things that are really required. We had the English and the math, but then they had electives. But they made sure that we were in the same classes no matter what. My homeroom was a little bit different. I was separated from Jean, and it wasn't a good feeling. And as we were being separated and set into our classrooms, they put me into a class called typing, Carl House. I am not a typist. I'm still not a typist. I don't text, don't know how to do it. But they had me in typing. Now Barbara, on the other hand,
I enjoy typing. And the typing teacher, Lady Martin, she was one of the more friendliest teachers, not the friendliest, but one of the more friendlier teachers there. And she really was a good instructor. What they say, I excelled in the typing, and I enjoyed it. I enjoy keyboarding now. I worked several years after this as an administrative assistant. But at the time, one of the things that really started over, here we came from a small classroom, and then we went over there, and the number of people in that class was about triple the number of classmates that we had at Central. So we off the bat number one under the bridge. And some of the teachers were not very friendly to us at all. They were instructing us simply because that was their job. We had band. The band instructor, he never let us even audition for anything. He taught us very basic. And it wasn't necessary because Mr. John Parrish had instructed us, taught us, and brought us along to be one of the top, both of us, the top flutists in his class. Now, Mr. Parrish, he didn't just teach and pick you to do this and do that. He actually taught you to be able to perform. And we performed in the world's biggest fish fry. Very good during the first year he was here. But our band teacher there, we were in a class for ourselves, 2 students, Barbara and Barbara. We spent the entire time there. We were there for 2 years. We never advanced any further than very, very basic instruction. And we never had anybody join our class. And we never moved to another class. It was one-on-one with Mr. Crosswalk.
and what they explained to us was the reason, not the reason we were in the class there was just him, but the reason we were not a part of the band is because the other schools in the area were not integrated. Now, as Mr. Crosswire was more or less, he was responsible for the music department. And with taking these lessons from him, we tried to figure out, we wanted to be alone and we wanted to be a part. So I said to Barbara, I'm going to try out for the chorus, the Glee Club. I've been singing in church all my life. Miss Crawford with the Glee Club, first sopranos. And I was bold enough, went into the auditorium because they had trials. Had no problems in my mind about what I could do. And then when I tried out, nothing was said. Then when it was time to put up who was going to be in the chorus, my name wasn't on the list. And of course I wanted to question it, and I did. And I was told, you just didn't make the cut. So I did not get a chance to be a part of the Glee Club. And I do want to point out one other thing too. We were put together as being together all of the time. And the first day we walked into the school, if you've ever been into the Grove Tower, to us that looks like the longest hallway in the world. Because when we walked in those front doors, the hallway was full of children, full of other students. And when we hit the door, they split from side to side, and we had to walk down by ourselves. And you had to go up one side and come down the other. So the entrance that we came in, we had to go all the way down that long hallway. It doesn't look so long now, but it did then. And then when they put us into study hall, we did have study hall, but we were at the table together. Did they call us names?
We had very good PE, Miss Roberts. And like I said, the classes were so much larger there than Barbara and I in the class. From one end of this wall to that wall, the girls in PE. And she would say, let's count off by twos. But I look at Barbara and she looked at me, and we switch. We go to the other side of the other girl. And they didn't want to be with us, and we were bred to be with them. But the teacher, she was very smart. She would count off to maybe this activity we do, three, count off to threes. And then she would do 4 or 5, just anything to throw us off. We wouldn't have time to get to count down and be where we would be each other. So we made a good jam, but I was never so glad when Elroy came the next year, because we had more girls to work with, and they were in the junior high, but they came up to senior high to in the gymnasium to work with us. And then there was a time we had a fire drill.
Oh my goodness. It was a regular thing. We had to have fire drills. And we were in a class of social studies taught by a name that's familiar in our community, by Mr. Redmond. And in this class, Barbara, we were the only two, of course. And when the fire drill took over and everybody had to move out and we had to come back in, and we were just fine. And one of the students, and calling names, Bill Moody, who, if you live in this community, you know him, he turned around and he looked at us and he said, "Oh, they got burnt." Didn't make us feel good, but that's what he said. We laughed at it now. And I'm laughing because when I came back to Tennessee, one of the first persons that I saw was Bill Moody. And he came up and he said, "I'm a born-again Christian, and I apologize for how I treated you when we were in school." So then it was sitting in homeroom, and as I talked about the names that they called us, you know what the N-word was? Do you know what it is? Well, nigga was a name that we heard quite frequently. Or the word coon. And it got so bad that the pigeons in the loft
Start singing.
Coon, coon, so Because we thought they were calling us coons too. And then when we would go to lunchroom,
That was another story. We'd sit and they'd make gestures and throw napkins and call us names. And that was the longest lunch period when we first got there, because second year we sort of used to it. Still hurt, but we were sort of used to it. We knew something was going to happen, you know. We didn't know the exact details, but something was going to happen during our lunchtime. Then there's a walk home. We lived on Rising Street, Grove Hill. Kids at Portercourt, which is 3 blocks from Rising Street, they rode the bus, but we had to walk. And they would holler out the window names and laugh and up and down when they would pass us coming down Martin Street. But we had a gentleman, Mr. Clarence Clark. I don't know how he worked his schedule at work, but when the weather was bad, he would always be available to come and get us. He would come to Rising Street to get us. His daughter Deborah was in junior high, but they lived closer to the school, but he took out the time and was gracious enough to come and get us on Rising Street and carry us to the school. But they would not let us ride the school bus because we were too close to the school. So they said.
and Mr. Clark, when we knew if it snowed, if it rained, oh, hallelujah, that we were going to be riding and not have to walk. But at that time, there were so many things that we were told that we could not do. Now, we weren't the best basketball players in the world. Mr. O'Daniel let us know that. But we did play guard. And of course, at that time, it was half court. And Mr. O'Daniel kind of whipped us enough about what we couldn't do. But we knew that we could play. But we weren't allowed to play basketball because, once again, the other schools were not integrated. So Miss Roberts, who we both loved, she would have every year, we didn't know this, they would have what they call the intramural basketball games there within the school. And she gave us the opportunity to play. And the first time we were out there, we thought we were a lot better than the other kids that were playing. And they cheered us on. And that was the first time that we thought we were finally getting a little bit accepted. But that wasn't quite true.
No, not at all.
Not quite true.
Another thing, I was so glad to get a new textbook, or a new light textbook, where you have your stamp and the names of the students in there, that my name wasn't on the very bottom and someone had scratched out a white out to put my name in. I'm not a public speaker to see that, but I was so glad to get a textbook that had my name in the box where the names went, and the pages wasn't some of them torn out or scratched over or whatever, because they had good books, and when they were discarded, those are the books that we were getting in the Negro school systems, grade school and high school. Those are some of the things that when we went, we hope would be better for all students. But it was just amazing just to see how well kept the books were, because they were new books.
And we walked into a math class at Central. We were just getting into algebra, which I had to know, I was shaking like a leaf on a tree. I'm not a math student, never have been. And when we got there, they had algebra. And they threw it in front of us, unified geometry. Had never heard of it, because geometry we knew we were going to get in the next round go at Central. So it was not an easy, that first year with that for me, it was not an easy year, especially in math. And Barbara did exceptionally well. She was typist, so now you wonder, what was I doing? Nothing, but struggling. And that very year, and my mother was determined I was going to get it. I tried. But I spent a summer in summer school just so that I could get out of the junior class because of that math. And at first I felt really, really bad about it, because, going to summer school was, it was a bad thing. It was a bad feeling if you had to go to summer school. But over the years, as I look back on it, it was the best thing because at least somebody, the teacher that was there that summer, took time to help me understand what I was doing, because doing the classrooms, the teacher could have cared less about whether we passed or not. Then Ms. Hopkins.
She hated to see us coming in the classroom. Excuse me, I'm congested, but she hated to see us coming into the classroom. It was all over her face. It's like, why are they here and why do I have to accept them into this classroom? She was history, and she was just a mean person. She didn't physical abuse us or anything, but she mentally, to go in and attitude, she had toward 2 people, and you had a room of 35 people maybe, and but it just geared toward 2. But that was hard to take, and that was for the entire 2 years that we were there. She just didn't want us there. That's the only way I can put it.
And once she asked us to do our family history, and her snide remark under her breath was, if you have one. Well, we had family history, and we were able to share it with her. And one of the most interesting things about it is there was a young man in that class, and I don't even remember his name. Of course, I don't remember a lot of the names.
They remember also.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the names. And as he was giving his history, and I got up and gave my history, then he talked about an old man Hudson that lived out up on Crowder Hill. We both called off the same name. Ms. Hopkins got really, really angry and wanted to tell me that you made up something. I said, no, this is what my grandfather told me. So her feelings were really, really deep for how she felt about us. And then O.W. Inman. One of the schools is named after him. He was our guidance counselor. And we had moved on into the second year. And you're supposed to go to your counselor, and they had us going to him and planning for your future, what you wanted to do. And he sat down, and in my counseling session, I was telling him I wanted to go to school, because I do want to let you know I had some anger, not about what was going on, but within myself. I had made a decision I'd never go to another white school in my life. And so when I started talking to him about going to Lane, he said he didn't know anything about it, but he'd get you the information. And then after thought, he said, oh, by the way, you are not college material. And of course, I had the determination to let him know I'm going to do what I feel I want to do. Then we had senior year. We were shouting hallelujah. Hallelujah last year. But we were involved in all the activities.
We went to the prom.
Went to the prom.
We had our escorts.
We had escorts.
And they were from Central High School.
We chose them. And we had reasons.
There was a criteria for picking someone to go to the prom with us. I didn't have a car.
We certainly didn't have a car.
We had to pick someone who had a car that could carry us to the prom, which was held at Paris Land State Park. also, some people don't understand.
Like Bobby Leo.
He's still wondering why he didn't have a prom. We couldn't help that, but we enjoyed ourselves before it was sort of cornered off at the prom, but we did do that. And
We chose,
Paul Payne,
why?
because Paul had a car.
And we chose
Bruce Fowler.
because Bruce was tall, he was from Chicago, and if they bothered us, we knew he'd get them. Now, did we dance at the prom? I don't think we did, because it was a country music. Did we dance, Bruce? We did. So what? In the corner. And then lo and behold, we did have graduation. And our thanks went out to everybody that had been involved with us. We knew Deborah and my sister Patricia were still there because they were involved in the process and they were separated just as we were. But when graduation came for us, I know I was one happy sister. They couldn't stop us from getting our degrees because we had earned them. Our diplomas because we had earned them. And then in this whole class, here we were, the two spots. And last year, the class celebrated their 50th
Class reunion. And I could not hardly, Barbara, go somewhere that they didn't know us. But they didn't tell us how disappointed and how upset they were because we were not there. I didn't understand. I don't understand.
We still don't. Because they knew us and we really knew very few. There were two young men in the class that were very, very nice to us. And one was named Larry Miller. His family owned the Miller's Men's Store. And the other one was Charles Farmer, who eventually became mayor of Jackson. But those were the two. And then we had one female, and she was the tallest female on their basketball team. And they called her Hutch. Now, everybody else say they know us. And they'll say, well, hi, Barbara. I say, hello. Don't you remember me? I was in your class. No, I sure don't. And then as the years have gone by, Barbara stayed home and really got to know a lot of the classmates. A lot of conversation. They let us know who they were. And then after coming back, as I told you, Bill Moody did apologize. And we still see some of them. We have Winchester that I see at McDonald's every day now. And of course he's waving his hands. They now seem to have some realization. I don't know if it's really acceptance because they do know that what we went through because they did it. Yeah. So they certainly know. But having the full circle, the Miss Roberts we just talked about, who was real good to us in PE, in my business I had the opportunity to provide her with her in-home services until she passed away. Julian Brewer, the red-faced man, his family came in to consult with me to find a place for him because he had developed Alzheimer's and how to get services for him. Martha McFadden, who's retired now, if we're ever on the telephone for anything, she constantly reminds me how great we were as classmates.
In her world. Not ours.
Not ours. So it has all come full circle. And they have had to call on us when at the time they didn't want us. Now, not only did they not want us,
Some Centralites didn't want us to be involved. That was really hard to take, you know. Go talk to someone and they said, you left, you went to Grove, and you shouldn't have, and because the school was closed or whatever. But that wasn't the reason we left. There was nothing wrong with the teachers at Central High School. We left as part of integrating the school system in County Tennessee. The teachers there were great. If you know something, some of them I don't want to know, because in our book, they were great teachers. They taught us. They would teach you a lesson. When I know one time, I had long hair. I also had 3 brothers underneath me, so they could classify me as a tomboy. But down the wing of Miss Swanigan, Miss Crawford, and Miss Lewisburg, this guy pulled my hair and he kept pulling it, So he pulls it when we get outside the door and takes out running. Well, immediately my books dropped to the floor because I'm going to get him. I'm tired of it. So we got around the corner. Professor T.R. Wilson was the hall monitor. And he stopped, and that was my clue to whoop this boy down. But Mr. Wilson, he came down. Miss McLean, no. Young ladies don't wrestle with the boys. So what I'm saying is that instead of punishing us, he turned it into a lesson, you know. Young ladies really shouldn't wrestle with young men, especially in the school hallways. So, but not only him, other teachers, they taught us things, you know, they said you're doing wrong, and they would tell your parents. And so it wasn't anything wrong with Central High School when we left. The good teachers there. And another one that excelled, Mr. J.L. O'Daniel. I had a brother on the basketball team. He was a coach. I played basketball. He was took classes. He coached them too. He taught the classes. And he just everywhere you look in sports, Mr. O'Daniel was involved some way. And it takes a good teacher, very dedicated person, to provide all those services so that you have a girls coach, boys basketball, and men football. So we just want that to be understood that nothing was wrong with Central High School as far as us leaving.
and the other part of it, our basic education started with Henry County Training School. And we went from Henry County Training School up through Central, and were among the first, what you want to call it, pre-junior or whatever, to even go to Central. And we only were away from Central for 2 years. And we never stopped loving everybody. And we truly speak up for our class of 1964 because we stuck together, and even to this day, we are still together. But our community, there were some that did not accept what we did, and a lot of it was the times. Please understand that we have no hard feelings. And a lot of it had to do with fear. But it took place. And Bob and I were just talking up here. Somebody had to do it. And why us? We don't know. We don't know. But we did. And so we were kind of hurt on both sides, our community, and then we knew the whites certainly didn't want us. So, but we survived it. And it was all through the grace of God. And then to be able to tell you our story, because that's what we're doing now. For the first time, except one other time, we're sharing with you our story. We had tears. Oh, if Barbara Jean didn't come to school, God, I was in this room all by myself. And I had to walk with Patricia all by myself. Then praying because I knew G was having a rough day. Because all we had was each other. And it's not a sad time, it's a joyful time. And we have a lot to laugh about.
So in closing, I'd just like to read a couple of statements here. Getting a lesson tonight too. Been there, done that, let's do it again. Barbara Ann and I could not physically do what was done in 1964 as students graduated high school during the initial integration of schools in Henry County, Tennessee. We can do it again by way of education, helping to educate our community, encouraging voter registration of all people, be involved in elections, learn the cause for which the candidates are promoting, and encourage registered voters to vote. We must educate our children outside the classroom. Educate them spiritually. We all should remember that we have a higher power that we must answer to. Educate our children to do more than the basic. Teach them to excel at all they do. We must teach our children self-control. One must respect self before they can respect others. These things were taught by our parents and grandparents. Let's do it also. Did school integration make a difference? One example, Henry County largest employer at the time, from 1941 to 1951, employed 9 black men. In 1965 to 68, the company hired 13 black men and women. In 1970, they hired 16 men and women, and in 22 in the latter part of 1970. This same pattern held true with all the employees of Henry County. We have pressed for equal education, equal pay, and must do it again. Although the unemployment rate in the state, 6.7, and in Henry County, 9.3, is high, we must continue to press for equality in the workplace. Done it before, let's do it again. In 1975, a Central High reunion of graduates and guests was attended by more than 300 people. Several reunions following were attended in excess of 300 people. These reunions were informative, fun, and thoroughly enjoyed by all. Let's work together, work hard and steady, and contribute your talent. And let's do it again and have standing room only, super reunion. Done it before, let's do it again. Central High School Alumni Association has a rich history, filled with many stories of growth, accomplishment, and success. We would not be here if it wasn't for those who have gone on before us. The ones who, without efforts, they have gone to create possibilities that we have today. We should thank each teacher of all grades who have gone on before. Their efforts have made the difference. Bob Yawley, speaker for the 1991 reunion and member of the great class of 1964 Central High School, said, "Integration came and some of our classmates left us in what turned out to be history in the making. They were there in body, leaving their hearts at Central, and taking along the pride that dwelled in their souls. Pride perfected Central High School. Barbara Ann and I graduated blue and white, but our blood runs back in gold. May God continue to bless all of us. And thank you.
Sometimes we make judgments before we check. But that time was a tough time for us. I know I was in that class, Bruce, Paul Payne, Robert Richardson, a lot of us. And we lost 2 real good classmates.
Amen.
And it was tough for us. They were at every basketball game, every football game, and we survived. I remember one day, I said this one time before, Lucia's barbershop, Robert Richardson and I were there getting a haircut. And Mr. Clarence Clark came in. Like, he talked real fast. All right. Robert said, "Do you want to go to Grove?" But everybody, going barbershop packed. Robert Jr. and I went into 10th grade. And we said, yes, sir. So we both got a haircut, and we left, went down the steps. Man, I ain't going to Grove. And said, we're not going to Grove because we had lost every football game and every basketball game our 8th grade year and 9th grade year. We were everybody's homecoming because they knew they would be us. Remember now, every football game and every basketball game. Bruce had grown 6 more inches. King Dunlap was already 6'9". In the 5th grade. In the 5th grade. You know what I mean? He had to play because his father was a big time football player. And we knew if we stayed at Central, we were going to win a state championship. Boyce Rowe. They hired Mr. Rowe. He's a dirty basketball player too. Don't y'all know that? Trying to hurt us. But anyway, Boyce Rowe came to help Mr. O'Daniel coach us. And we won state championship in football, went undefeated. Beat Mary High School. We was so happy with Mary High School. I tell you. I mean, there were so many people down there. They were over at Raymond Coach's house, back up in there. So many people came to the game, and we wanted to win a state championship in basketball. We won the district and the region, but we didn't win the state. And the team that won the state just beat us by 3 points. Pearl High School. So I admire the kids who left before us. And you look at those high schools now, who do you see? Us. Us. Run that touchdown. Us. We did what Bear Bryant did in 1972 when he brought Southern California to play Alabama. Bear Bryant wanted to integrate, but the president said it's not time. So when they added an additional game in football, 1974, he went to Southern Cal's coach and said, play us in Birmingham. It's okay. They beat them 41-21. Sam Cunningham ran 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. And one of the disc jockeys said, Sam Cunningham did more for integration in Alabama in 40 minutes than Martin Luther King did in 10 years. What he meant was, they 91,000 people, whites, sat there in those seats and didn't move for about an hour until the game was over in disbelief. Integration started that next week, and they went back to California with black players on the Alabama team, and they beat Southern Cal the next year. The rest is history. The rest is history. So we got a lot of people to thank for what's happening today. A lot of people think what's happening today, and I want to recognize, I also know I'm taking a little privilege for all my classmates. You know I talk about them, but I can't. But anyway, I want to recognize the first African American to play basketball at Grove High School is here tonight. He stood up earlier, but Gregory Coates. Stand up with them.
Glad to be here in attendance, and my stories will be short and quickly to the point. Of course, in a man's life, there comes a time for a rite of passage. So, the things we went through as young men, I was 13, Russ was 13, turned 14 before we started school in the fall of 1963. Now, we had to have federal marshals. And you went to the bathroom, you could expect them to jump on your game. But the good thing was I had a cousin named Mitchell McLean. And Mitchell was a beast. So what I've done, being a small stature, was, you remember F.W. Woolwork on the corner of Washington and Poplar Street? They used to sell over a pearl handle knives for 29 cents. So I saved my lunch money and I purchased one. So we got in the bathroom, got in a big fight, and of course Mitchell was looking at the guys running and everything, so a couple of guys decided that's going to get in it. So I said, well, here's my opportunity. I jumped out, pulled my knife, said, anybody touch him, I'll cut him through. Everybody just stopped, and he looked. Well, see, I had no problems after that, because they knew I was packing a knife. But it was pretty bad for us, you know. And the only time I really became afraid was on November 22nd, 1963, at 105, when they came on the loudspeaker and told us President Kennedy got killed. I knew if they could kill the president, they could kill us. So I had a little bit of fear. I really did. But now, this guy right here, we've been together for about 62 years. We have this thing that we own their children, and of course we walked to school that day. We was fortunate enough to get some motorcycles and ride around there, and a lot of people didn't like us for that. It wasn't for us to show out. It was transportation for us to go to school because we were too young to drive. But we went through a lot of things together. And he's here today, not only for this class reunion, but you see this band? I have cancer, but cancer doesn't have me. And that's what's been the problem. And sometimes I'll lose it, you know, I'll get into a crying fit or something like that. No matter what time of the day it might, I call him, he's always there. And that's a true marksmanship of friendship. But you know, those things we went through in Grove, we were so young, it laid a lot of scars on us. And you can't put a Band-Aid on a scar. And some of those things healed, some of them didn't. But we had worked our way around it. And of course, we graduated the class in 1967. And of course, like Barbara, we was dating some young ladies from Central House School, went to our farm, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'm proud of the fact that that we did go. And what I can say is that the foundation of education that we received at Henry Training School from Michigan all the way up to Rolling Axle, we went to Central, and there were several teachers out there who helped us. We were able to compete. We had no problem to compete. Even though the books were a little newer, but the foundation we had, we was able to continue our education and finish high school on time. And we went to our 45th anniversary a couple of years ago, and of course we see a lot about everybody wants to shake your hand. Hard for me to shake your hand when you call me a nigga. It's really hard for me to do that, you know. And I tried to be nice, and I really was. I was nice, but I let them know on certain terms that I didn't appreciate what they done several years ago. And it's okay to apologize, but that don't heal the scar. That doesn't heal the scar. My friend Wilson.
All I want to say is we did not have a choice back then. When our parents said, you going, you went. You could not say nothing else. You went. I cried my eyes out because I didn't want to go, but I went. And once we got there, like them, they were saying they had to be together. Now we were the guys. We were in 67 class. We had to be together. Couldn't go to the bathroom without the other. Because you know, white boys, they ain't good when they by themselves, but they get in the group, they want to do something. So we got shot down, called every name there was, and the only thing I say is, when we went to Central for the games, now that really hurt us, because what are y'all coming out here for? Because we needed some relief. We got none in Grove. We got called, we got cussed every day, but we made it. And I want to thank you all for having us back. Thank you.
I guess everybody knows who I am. I'm a chipmunk son. Everybody call me Billy Howard, Big Bill. That's the name been tagged to me lately. I graduated in 1968, and 1968, before I graduated, I had a couple coaches to come to my house from Union University. Wanted me to play basketball at Union University. At that time, I didn't really know where I was going. I was getting several little scholarships to different schools, and being from a small town, I was real nervous because I didn't know nothing about towns was outside of Paris. Well, these two coaches, and Coach Henry and Coach Carter was their name, and they came down to visit my parents. And both of them are deceased now, but they was my mentors, because in 1968, there was still a lot of immigration going on. Well, in 1968, I did sound allowed to play college basketball at Union University, and I became one of the 7 blacks to attend Union University. My roommate was the first black to attend Union University. So it was just he and I at the whole university on the basketball team and at the whole school. We encountered a lot of different incidents. When I first got there, the coach wanted to make sure that we got through the first year. So we had to have some electives in school, and one of them, he put me in typing. Now, I already had 2 years of typing, 2 years of shorthand, and I took typing and shorthand so I could be with the girls. That's the only reason I took them. Well, they put me in a class on typing. And y'all remember the old manual typewriters where you go click, click, click and throw the armrest? Well, I was in a beginning typing class. And one day, had a speed test. And like I said, I'm the only black in the whole class, because me and my roommates were the only 2 blacks in the whole university. Sam Thorpe graduated from Union. He came after me, and he's my, okay. Well, Sam also graduated from Union University. He came after me. But getting back to the story, we had the speed test, and we all got to typing, and I started typing real fast and throwing that carriage. You know, you go tick, 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 boom, tick, 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 boom. Well, the white students were going tick, 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 boom, tick, 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 boom. I'm going tick, 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 boom, tick, 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 boom. And here comes the instructor there, said, and by the way, they tagged me with the name Billy Lee. My coach tagged me with that name. And she said, Billy Lee, I thought you have never had typing before. I said, no ma'am, I've been practicing. But I got an 8 out of that class. And another incident, I took English, and I love English. And you know, Miss Crawford, everybody knows Miss Crawford, one of the things that she taught you was diagramming sentences. And she made sure that everybody knew how to diagram sentences. Well, I had one of these English teachers, you know, I went before, and first thing she said that, you know, I don't give athletes grades. I said, ma'am, I'm not expecting you to give me no grade. I'll make my grade. And so we got into class, and guess what the first thing that the teacher introduced us to, wanted us to, I started working on diagramming sentences. And you know what? I was the only one know how to do it. Tell you, all the other white students had never had diagramming sentences. I was the only one who knew how to do it. I got an A out of that class. But over the years, like I said, me and my roommates was there for 2 years straight, and then we started getting other blacks started coming to school. And by the way, Union University was Bear Brand, first coaching job. But yeah, and anyway, one of the things that happened when I was playing basketball, several things that happened when I was playing basketball was I remember one time I became captain of the basketball team, and the captain of the basketball team, your duties was to escort the queen in the middle of the floor and give her a kiss and flowers and things like that. Well, once I became captain of the basketball team, that rule was changed. So they decided that we would not do that anymore, we were going to do it a different way. So that was one thing that I went through. Now, I didn't think nothing about it. I was young. All I was thinking about is playing basketball, getting out of school, enjoying myself. But looking back at that, I ladies was going through. Another incident occurred. Like I said, being the only blacks on the basketball team, we would go to some of the universities and they wouldn't have blacks, like Delta State, Southwestern, which is Rhodes College now. Delta State, we would go into that university to play basketball, and they would throw cups at us. Me and my roommate, being we were the only black there, they would throw paper cups at us. They would call us all kind of names. And I think they knew my name, Howard. When did you put your rake down? When did you put your hoe down? They always did something like that at all the different games. Matter of fact, one of the worst incidents we had was playing Rhodes College, which used to be Southwestern College. And once again, me and my roommate, we was the only black in the whole gym. And one of our players went up and they gave him a hard foul. And when that happened, the whole bleachers emptied. And not on the player that caused the foul, but it just gave them an excuse to unload on me and my roommate. So they had us bagged up against the corner, throwing blows at us, and calling us all kind of names. And we had one gentleman, he's like 6'9", and I tell this story all the time because we have University reunion, and I tell that story, that if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be here. His name was Ed Brawley, he's like 6'7", but he was a good friend of mine. And he saw me and my roommate in trouble, so he ran over there to try to help us, but he fell in the middle of the floor and it stopped the fight. Well, later on I found out why he fell. And he fell because the coach tripped him up to keep him from going and getting involved. So we look back at that and we laugh now because it did happen. But I did graduate in 1972, and my senior year, we ended up with, my coach ended up leaving my sophomore year, going to take the job as the athletic director at UT Knoxville. And we ended up with another coach. He and I didn't really get along real well, but my senior year, once again, like I said, was captain of the basketball team. We had 5 blacks on the basketball team, 5 blacks, and we was all starting. Well, we was beating teams like we beat Memphis State, we beat Memphis State, we beat Kentucky Westland. I don't know if y'all heard of them, power school, Western Kentucky, schools like that. We beat some big schools, and we won like 6 games in a row. And the coach called all 5 of us to his office and told us that he's going to have to pull 3 from the lineup. And we could only play 2 of us at a time because the Booster Club members was upset because a lot of their sons wasn't playing ball. So that did happen, and I lost all respect with that coach when that happened. Now today, like Bobby said, that's all you see now is blacks on the team. But we was before our time. And there was some good things that happened too while I was there. They did honor me. I do hold a rebound record at Union University with 30 rebounds in 1 game. And I broke that in 1972. And nobody had broken my record yet. I did pretty good. I averaged 27 points a game. My senior year, before three-pointers were ever known of. But also, I had a great time at Union. My brother is here. He went to Lane College. Had other people from Paris, Nella Fitzgerald, a lot of different people that I knew that came from Central was going to Lane.
I've enjoyed seeing so many people. It's been fantastic. Secondly, I want to thank Barbara Ann and Barbara Jean for telling our story. Thirdly, yes. And are you? Oh, Deborah Atania Clark Howard. So, hey. But I do really want to thank Barbara Ann and Barbara Jean for telling our story. And I'll tell you why I say that. I've been approached at least 4 times by 4 different white Henry Countyans to tell this story. I've always refused. I wasn't really clear as to why I refused, but tonight I know why. Because we have to tell our own story. Gregory, Barbara Ann, Barbara Jean, Elroy, everybody that came after. What this night did for me is to inspire me to get together with these two women, Patricia is now deceased, to tell our own story. I've been offered money to tell our story, and my father would say, well, why don't you tell it? I said, because if I do that, they want me to tell it their way. We're going to tell this story in published form, our way. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Last summer, in August, I had the pleasure of being invited to a reception. And Bob probably knows this story, at the Botanical Gardens in Atlanta. Guess who the guest speakers were and the guest people? The original freedom fighters from Tennessee State University. And it was fantastic. I didn't realize that that many living original freedom riders who came from Fisk University and Tennessee State University were living in a 10-mile radius of me. I did not know that. They are telling their own story. Henry County has a story to tell about integration, how it happened, who the people were, and the circumstances that followed. So, Barbara Ann, Barbara Jean, we're going to tell our own story. And our co-authors are going to be all the people that followed the years behind us. So, people, we have a historian for Central High School. I know she kind of knows some of this situation, but we're not telling our story to anyone but ourselves, and we're going to publish our story. So thank you, and it's good to see everyone.
Paulette Petty. Yes, we're going to do the call for classes. I'm so sorry, please. She dropped her glasses. Anyone have her glasses? She cannot see.
If you're looking for me on the program, you won't find me. I'm just kind of a fill-in. I'm Virginia Claudette Penny Yarbrough, class of 1966.
All right.
I'm here again, and it's been a while, to introduce the classes, alumni, Central alumni, for the year 2015. This is our 20th year anniversary. So as I call your class, would you please stand? Class of 1934. She's not here. Class of 1941. And that's my auntie Hattie Mae Thomas Yarbrough. I'm married to her nephew.
All right.
Class of 1948. Our church. Class of 1950. Class of 1947. Class of 1951. Class of 1952. Class of 1954. Class of 1955. Class of 1956. Class of 1957. Class of 1958. Class of 1959. Class of 1960. 1961. Class of 1962. Class of 1963. Class of 1964.
All right.
Class of 1965. Class of 1966.
Hey.
Class of 1967. Class of 1968. The final class from Central High School, class of 1969. All alumni that attended Central but did not graduate, would you all please stand? Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause again.
We're going to have a special recognition now. We hope that everybody have a good time. And we'll have recognition of Miss Janice Branch. Janice Hardy. Janet Hardy Branch. And we're going to say, you know, see the cameraman, take some pictures. He's taking great pictures. He's giving you great discounts, all right?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
No mercy. We've been here way too long, but I'm going to do this kind of quick, fast, and in a hurry, not to take anything away from anybody, but most of us are graduates or attendees somewhere with some education, so I know you can read. So instead of doing all this for you, I'm going to invite you, first of all, to turn your programs to pages 10 and 11 for a special recognition and dedication of this book, the Souvenir Anniversary 20th year, to Mrs. Lula Page Newton, who was responsible for our first reunion. That information is there for you, and we are happy to do this in her memory. She is gone, but she shall never be forgotten. Next, we will ask you to move on to page 12. The 20th anniversary reunion is dedicated to our oldest living CHS alumni, Emmeline Jones Johnson, 99 years old, CHS graduate of the class of 1934. May God continue to bless her. She is not present, but she is always registered and has again registered this year and is our oldest living member. Quickly at this time, for the oldest class represented here tonight, 1941, Mrs. Hattie Yarbrough, if you please stand. Thank her for her loyalty and longevity in supporting the Central High Alumni Association, and ask that she please accept this floral token of our love for her. Okay, we're going to move it back a little bit to page 9. We want to recognize Mr. Clarence Clark for his contribution to the civic and community, to parents and senior council, including spearheading the integration of Grove High School with our first fourth. That information is on page 9. Last but not least, if you will turn back to page 6. I'm going to wrap it up right here with this statement to you. In the year of the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the March in Selma, Alabama, we, the Central High School Alumni Association Incorporated, feel it most compelling and obligatory to salute and honor those students who left Central High School to pave the way toward integration and the advancement of civil rights in Harris and Henry County. We sincerely acknowledge your sacrifices, your struggles, and your strength. We have come full circle in 2015 and are elated to again be as one. We proudly dedicate this year's reunion to the first four and honor those who follow. I know you can read this too, but on page 30, I do at least want to call the names. Some of them may have already left, but if you are still here, honorees attending reunion 2015 who went to Grove High School: Kathy Littleton. Is she here? Richard McLean, if you please remain standing for just a second. Beverly Van Dyke. Gail Tharp. Deborah Clark Howard. Hattie Elroy Reynolds Smith. Jean Carroll Reynolds Gray. Tom Sims. Samuel Tharp. Barbara Tharp Gray. Wilson Kendall. Gwynelda Coates McLean. Barbara McLean Byers. Gregory Coates. If we could give them a round of applause. Thank you so much.
And finally, we have one presentation. President Payne is going to present roses. Each of the four other people are here, and four. But also in our class of 1968, Barbara Ann Thorpe and Robert T. McLean were in our class. 64, I'm sorry. 64. Class of 64, Robert T. McLean, Barbara Ann Thorpe were with us up until the time they went to Grove High School. So President Payne went and talked with the superintendent of schools about 3 weeks ago, and they didn't deliver it today, forgot to deliver it, but we have honorary diplomas from Central High School for Barbara Jean McLean and Barbara Ann Thorpe. Thank you. Sam was accepted for assistant position. Bring it over.